There we are. We're live now.
Hello. I got jazz hands going.
Yeah.
We're so
Hello, my
excited.
sisters. Hello, my sisters.
Hello. Oh my gosh. I
Hi,
am in
everyone.
love with our Monday nights. Oh my gosh.
Me too. Me too.
Oh, wow. We have a lot in the chat already. Well, thank you
We
for
do.
being here. I know each one of us truly appreciate you being here with us and learning with us. We're so excited
Yes.
about this.
Yes.
Mhm.
So let's see here. Let's do a few hellos. We're going to get to the chat here in a minute. We'll come quite a few come in, but what we want to do is each one of us we want to say hello to you real quick, and then I think we're going to start out with prayer, and then we'll go back and talk to the chat, and we'll get this started. All right. So we're going to bow our heads and we'll get started. All right. So Heavenly Father, we believe and trust your word. We want to grow in your word each day and to understand your promises for us. We commit our time together to you and ask that you heal and restore us as we dig into your word. We want to meet with you and know you better. I pray you give us ears to listen and a heart to understand. And we thank you for your word. As it's written in Psalms 119, 130, the unfolding of your word gives light and understanding. And all these things I pray through Christ Jesus, Lord, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Right. Yes. Right. Gets a good start.
Yes. All jazzed up.
Yeah. So let's see here. We'll all take some turns here, but first I want to say hi to first one in was Eileen. Welcome to my kitchen. Man, she was in here at 8:29. She liked and shared.
Hello.
So thank you, Eileen.
Shared. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. And Carrie Leonard was in here at 10:56. She said she has a sewing class at 8, but at the same time, but I bet she'll go back and look at it. But I'm glad she was in here. Mm-hmm. And Love the Land Every Day says, oh, this sounds interesting. We're enjoying it. We enjoy it too.
Yeah.
Wade Rue. Well, I got wait 2 hours. Wait, Rock comes in. Yes, but she's here now. I like that. Canadian Family Life, Tiffany leaving my thumbs up and giving my thumbs up for giving my thumbs up. Have fun, ladies. Thank you. And then Glenda from Grace and Fire is here. Hello. And I said hello. Jamie's Country Living. She's in here. Hello. And then 9 Acre Family Farms is in. Jean from One Day at a Time Farmstead. Hello, I'm looking forward to this study. Thank you, ladies, for investing your time in the study of God's Word. Well, thank you.
Yes.
We same to you. That's not Charlie, is it?
No, this is Callie. Normally she's really camera shy, but she wanted to be on with when we were on with Tilted K, and she's normally like, yeah, she's.
Sorry, it's like glitter. I was like, oh, cat.
Silly one.
Okay, let's see here. And then Karen Breast is in here. Hello, Christine, Mrs. Gillen Farms, and Ginger and Lisa and Tara. Looking forward to studying with you tonight. Oh, I'm so glad.
You left out Wade's next comment, which was,
I thought it said I did
minutes ago.
Less than 8 minutes ago.
Sorry, Wade. Hello, Gabby. Hopefully she's got Punky with her.
Oh.
Beverly Moffat.
Wade Root 6 Springs still on Eric's live, but I have you on here also. We were in there too. It's a great live.
Yeah.
And there is Bowen with Thunderstick Homestead.
Hey,
glad you're in here, Beverly Moffat. I'm sorry, I don't have to hog all the. Anybody else want? I feel like I'm always the one talking.
We have Bins Over Acres in ours.
Yes, I see.
Barb, yes. Alicia.
Yes. Nana.
Teresa J. I always mess up her last name.
Juki.
Teresa Jekowitz.
Yeah.
I probably say it wrong every time. I love saying it for some reason.
Rainy Ridge. The Stanley family.
Debbie Drotch.
Evelyn Newman.
Oh, I wasn't at the bottom of the chat. That's half my problem.
Goat Days.
Jesse.
Hey. That's Dave and Sammy, right?
Flash Ministries.
Oh, nice.
Nice. You guys say
Sean with Let's Play Paint.
Oh, hey, Sean.
Leonard Mountain Homestead.
Aw, thank you, Lauren. I'm feeling better. Yesterday was a rough day for me. So yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I heard you say that. I hope you are feeling better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was my dad isn't doing well, and so that's the first thing I woke up to yesterday morning, and then I ended up being sick. So I don't know. I'm not sure what that was from. So
Right.
yeah,
Mm,
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, and I hope it stays
Yeah.
that way.
absolutely.
Let's see.
Did you
here.
say hi to Dot Roper and Helena M.
Yeah, and
And
Scotty
James
Dahati.
Scotty Tuhati,
Who's
Virginia
making it
Alexander.
home. Lauren and Joel, right? Lauren?
Mhm.
No. Okay, I got it right.
she is usually never this lovey.
That's funny.
There's
Tish
Scotty
Ross is
Dahati.
in here.
Hey, Tish.
Hey, Sean. There's Sean. Let's try paint. Tish is in here. Hi, Tish.
Melinda.
And there's Helena M. And you guys said hello to Dot, right? Hi, Dot.
Yes. Anita Martin.
James
Lindy
Hall.
Okie.
Hey, Lynn.
The Stanley family. Hello.
Hello, hello.
There is Jesse's girl at Lazy Days Ahead. They had a lot of traveling today. So I
Yes,
hope
they
they're
did.
in and getting some rest.
They went through a rainstorm, and I went through it with them, and I was biting my
really?
fingernails. Yeah, I was
Ooh,
like,
I didn't see that. I hate driving in weather like that. Oh,
I know,
hate it.
me too.
Especially at night. I can't see.
Yeah.
Rain, not forget it.
Yeah.
Let's
There's
see.
James Hall.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said there's James Hall.
Yes. Hey,
You
James.
said
Thank you
hello
all
to
for coming in. We're so
Yes.
grateful that y'all are here.
Yes, we
and
are.
I know I'm ready to dig into the word. So
Yeah, let's continue.
Yeah.
Sorry. So if we missed you, we didn't mean to, but I just wanted to say hello to everybody. But we greatly
Yes.
appreciate you being here. So let's get busy. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
really good.
all right. So let's do a bit of a recap from chapter 1. Okay. So we have Xerxes, right, the king of Persia, and I forgot his other name, but we'll just go with Xerxes.
Okay.
He was having a 6-month, right, 180-day,
Hot day.
look at me, I'm wonderful, let's celebrate me is how I kind of read it. But then at the end of that, he had a 7-day feast, right? And is with his nobles. And then also it talks about how his queen, Vashti, did I say that right?
Vashti.
Vashti. Oh, I almost said it. She was also having one for all the females, in the courts and I guess concubines and harem. I don't know how to call her.
All of that.
All of it.
I just can't imagine it. But and then kind of like they were enjoying their wine and had a little too much, but they had a little bit of a competition about who supposedly, who has the country with the most beautiful women or whatever. But he wanted his queen to come in, and it's so he sent his guards or whatever to go get her to come in, and she refused him. So then he, in that time, he talked to his confidants about what they should do because he was upset and angry.
Mhm.
And you guys add to if you want to, but he got some, I don't know if it's really great words of wisdom.
Advice.
But,
yeah.
but basically, write a decree saying she
Yes.
can't come in front of you anymore. And because we want to make sure that she's made an example of, because we don't want all our wives and all the other commoners' wives to,
follow suit. Yeah.
Yes, follow suit.
Yes.
So that's where we kind of led up to, right? Did I miss anything from chapter 1?
No, that sounds like a wonderful recap.
Yeah, it sounds like a good recap.
Yeah. And I can understand that back then, that time, even though she was a queen, I mean, even the queen, if I understood correctly, could not go in front of the king without the permission of the king. So even if they just showed up, if he didn't put out his royal scepter and, let you touch it, then you could be killed. I mean, that even was for the queen, which I thought was interesting. So you can really tell the level that women were at in that day and time, because you got to remember the context of all this. So really having a woman, even the queen, say, I don't think so, whatever her reason was huge.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then, so
And
we
her
get
refusal. Her refusal was huge.
yeah.
I'm surprised that he just banished her. I'm surprised that he didn't off with her head, you know.
I did too, because I guess my mind started going to like King Arthur time, you know, like it seemed like every
Yes.
wife or queen was getting beheaded or
Yeah.
something. And that's why I was really surprised by that too.
Yeah.
And I
You
kind of
know,
wanted, go ahead, Ginger.
I was going to say, after that, you never hear about her again, Vashti. And you're like, well, whatever happened to that lady? You know? So, whatever happened to her? You didn't hear nothing else
kinda went
other
away.
than that.
Well, I think it also kind of a little bit made me feel like he really did have affections for her, but from the pressure of his friends and his counsel, he knew that he had to do something.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, divorcing her and banishing her when he could have done something more kind of just showed that he really did care about her.
Yeah.
But he, you know, he caved to the peer pressure of his court and his counselors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of really wonder if he had, you know, with him being so well, I don't know if he was wealthy or not, but apparently he was spending a lot of money, you know, having this 6-month party and, you know, this big festival, or not festival, but the feast. And they talked about, you know, that wine was pouring, you know, as much as they wanted. They could have whatever they wanted, basically, the noblemen that were there.
Yes.
And so I'm sure there wasn't really some great thinking during that time when he made that decision. And it's like, was he taking advice from people? I mean, I know that was part of the culture then, that you would go to your wise men, but were they the best interest for him? Who knows?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Or did they have their own agendas?
Oh, come on. Yeah, you know
they did.
history, all the kids and closest people were all, you know, with their own agendas.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that's probably where that phrase comes through is, you know, you keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yes.
Because for sure.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I think we
totally
established that this all happened in his 3rd year of reign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is
And then
important for chapter 2.
Yeah, and he's pretty young, 30 something, you know, and he comes from, he's very, what's the word I'm looking for when you're used to kind of getting your way and you're from a very rich world? I'm sorry?
Spoiled and entitled?
Yeah, that's what I think when I think of Xerxes, you know, a lot of people think of Xerxes, they think of like, what was that movie, The 300 or whatever, you know, that Xerxes. but I mean,
someone said I'm new here. What are we studying?
Oh, I'm sorry.
The book of Esther.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
we're studying the book of Esther. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This is our second time, and we will get better, I promise. But we are studying the book of Esther. We wanted to start with the books of the Bible that involving the women, or study the women of the Bible. And we started with Esther. We thought that was a good one to start with, which you know, we talked about, I have not dived into it. You know, it wasn't one that really kind of spoke to me, but really now that I have, I'm like, wow. We're not really following. We all have this book from Beth Moore, and we're using it for us to kind of learn more and more about it so we can have the open discussions. I'm not saying we're following it. Yeah, we all probably got, it's kind of like the seed book. We all got one now. But
we have one.
That's the inside joke. But we're kind of using it to help us. So if you guys want to, you know, if you have the book or you want to, you know, purchase it, you can. But we're not following 100% like every, you know, question they have. But we want to have discussion about, you know, like how are we perceiving what's being said and what's going on.
And none of us are scholars. So if this is your first time here, none of us are theologians. None of us we're just 4 ordinary women wanting to grow in what we know of the Lord. And
I think that might be some of the things that we need to put on the very beginning. We don't know. We're trying to learn, you know.
Disclaimer.
4 women in our different walks of life.
Yes.
Just having no training besides reading the Bible.
We're trying to understand it, and we're trying to learn how to pronounce all these names.
Oh, it's a struggle for me.
Yeah, it's
with these all these. I know.
It's crazy.
So
are we ready?
in Texas says it's buffering badly on her end, but I don't see any buffering. Do you?
Yeah, I'm not.
No, it's not buffering here.
Sorry about that.
I want to say she said that they have some strong winds or something.
Okay.
They have bad storms going through. So
that was Melinda Dobson. She said that, and so did
Okay.
Derek Fowler. They're both in Georgia, and I'm right there with them. It's a terrible storm coming through.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
And apparently
it looks
Derek has
bad.
us all over his house tonight. Sorry, Derek Fowler. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you, Derek and Regina. I'm sure he borrowed something from her.
Yes, thank you, Regina.
Yes, thank you both.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here.
Mhm.
Yes, this is
Johnny
exciting.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
are
we're
we
gonna-
ready to start?
Yeah, so we're going to go into chapter 2 of Esther.
Yes.
And I'm pretty excited about this one because it's going to like be even more questions I have. So
Yes. Okay.
okay, so we're going to bring up each verse and we're each going to take turn reading. We're just going to read out loud. Then when we get done with these, then we'll do some observation of discussions and go from there. So do you ladies want me to start like we did last time?
Yes,
Yeah, we'll just go right down the line.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The book of Esther, chapter 2, Esther made queen. So later when King Xerxes Fury. I can't say that word.
Fury.
Fury. It's not furry.
Fury.
It's furry. That's a he remembered Vashti. Is that how we said it? Vashti. And what she had done and what he had decreed about her. Then the king's personal attendants proposed, let a search be made for beautiful young virgins for the king. Let the king appoint commissioners in every province of his realm to bring all these beautiful young women into the harem at the citadel of Susa. Let them be placed under the care of Haggai. That's what I'm going to go with. Haggai. Thank you. The king's eunuch, who is in charge of the women, and let beauty treatments be given to them. So pretty much you go pick up all these virgins and let them have a years-long pamper. What is it? Like a spa day. Okay.
Spa year.
Yes. A spa year. Okay. So let me go.
We're going to go to the next one.
A little bit different this time. So let me go here. And
I'll have to remember. I'll just save them and we'll do it like we did the first week too.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, whatever's good. We'll go with it.
We appreciate you putting these together, Tara, though. Thank you.
Yes, and for Tara put together this background that they're on and everything, so it looks beautiful and it's right along
We keep with our garden theme.
Okay. Yes, it does.
So, do you want me to read this one, or we're just gonna keep going till we get down to the end like we did last time?
Yeah, I can read this one.
Okay, I mean it's up to you, but we'll just keep. Okay.
Yes or no?
Yes, go ahead and read it. Yes.
I was gonna say, do you want me to go or no?
Yes, I'm sorry. Please go.
Then let the young woman who pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti. This advice appealed to the king, and he followed it. Now there was in the citadel of Susa a Jew of the tribe of Benjamin named Mordecai, son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, who had been carried into exile from Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Among those taken captive with Jehoiachin, king of Judah. So let me take that one out, and then we'll go to the next one. So, yes, just patience, my loves, patience.
You're doing fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, this is all laid back. We're just at everybody's kitchen table around it. Just
we're just trying to work out everything for it.
Yes. So there we go.
Okay. Mordecai had a cousin named Hadassah, whom he had brought up because she had neither father nor mother. This young woman, who was also known as Esther, had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Mordecai had taken her as his own daughter when her father and mother died. When the king's order and edict had been proclaimed, many young women were brought to the
Citadel
of Susa and put under the care of Haggai. Esther also was taken to the king's place and entrusted to Haggai, who had charge of the harem. Okay.
All right.
All righty.
Uh-oh. Is she pitching them to me? Thank you.
That's better.
Is that right?
Oh, there you go.
All right. So she pleased him and won his favor. Immediately he provided her. Wait, is that the right side? That should be slide 3.
Is that the right one?
Yeah, because I think this is about Haggai.
Or is it 4?
It should be.
The fourth slide, whichever one that one is.
Okay, yeah. So she pleased him and won his favor. Immediately he provided her with the beauty treatments and special food. He assigned her to the 7 female attendants. Did we skip a chapter or skip a thing? No, maybe not.
I don't think so. No, that is slide 4.
No,
so
it's
yeah,
right.
you're right. You're
Okay,
good.
so Esther, she pleased him and won his favor. Immediately he provided her with her beauty treatments and special food. He assigned to her 7 female attendants, 7 people to help her. Wouldn't that be awesome, y'all?
Yes.
Selected from the king's palace and moved her and her attendants into the best place in the harem. Esther had not revealed her nationality and family background because Mordecai had forbidden her to do so. Every day he walked back and forth near the courtyard of the harem to find out how Esther was and what was happening to her.
Oh, okay. Let's take that one down, and there we go.
Okay, so before a young woman's turn came to go into King Xerxes, she had to complete 12 months of beauty treatments prescribed for the woman, 6 months with oil of myrrh and 6 with perfumes and cosmetics. And this is how she would go to the king. Anything she wanted was given to her to take with her from the harem to the king's palace. In the evening, she would go there, and in the morning return to another part of the harem to the care of Shazam. The king's eunuch, who was in charge of the concubines. She would not return to the king unless he was pleased with her and summoned her by name.
Yikes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okie dokie, sir. When the turn came for Esther, the young woman whom Mordecai had adopted, the daughter of his uncle Abigail, to go into the king, she asked for nothing other than what Haggai, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the harem, suggested. And Esther won the favor of everyone who saw her. She was taken to King Xerxes in the royal residence in the 10th month, in the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign.
Now the king was attracted to Esther more than to any of the other women, and she won his favor and approval more than any of the other virgins. So he set a royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. And the king gave a great banquet, Esther's banquet, for all his nobles and officials. He proclaimed a holiday throughout the province and distributed gifts with royal liberty.
So chapter 2, Mordecai reveals a conspiracy against the king. When the virgins were assembled a second time, Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, but Esther had kept secret her family background and nationality because she was Jewish, just as Mordecai had told her to do so, for she continued to follow Mordecai's instructions as she had done when he was bringing her up. During the time Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Bigthana and Teresh, 2 of the king's officers who guarded the doorway, became angry and conspired to assassinate King Xerxes.
Okay, so chapter 2, Mordecai reveals a conspiracy against the king. But Mordecai found out about the plot and told Queen Esther, who in turn reported it to the king, giving credit to Mordecai. And when the report was investigated and found to be true, the 2 officials were impaled on poles. All this was recorded in the book of the Annals in the presence of the king. So is there any way we can go back to that first chapter 1? How hard is that to go back to? And I thought maybe we could kind of break down the first slide.
Yeah, I can post it. Hold on.
Thank you. I thought we could maybe start there or chapter 2, first one.
I'll throw 2 up also. We'll just have to remember, I'll just wait and do these when it seems to be a little easier to retrieve them.
It
Yeah,
does.
I'm sorry, I threw a loop in there. But,
no. Okay.
Well, the reason I wanted to is it says later when King Xerxes' fury had subsided. Oh, I said it right that time. He remembered the Sheedy. So you're going back to what you were saying. You felt like he kind of had some emotions for her, his queen. You got to think about this in the context of the time. So I think later on you read that he's in the 7th year of his reign. When we started this out, he was in the 3rd or 4th year?
Yes.
Right? So in between that time, if I read in Beth Moore's book, I think it's Beth Moore's, that it's when he went to go after Greece to try to, take control over Greece, but that didn't work out so good for him. So he's coming back home after 3 or 4 years, whooped with his tail between his legs, and he's wanting to be comforted by his queen, and told he's all wonderful again, but she's gone, and now he's kind of, to me, it sounds like he's regretting what he did. But then his buddies, his homies,
that's one of my questions, because it says in there, it doesn't say his officials or his eunuchs or anybody else. It says his personal assistants.
That's true.
That's a whole different. So he was probably bemoaning, oh my gosh, what's going on? I don't have a lady friend here, and now
I thought you had the whole harem over here.
Did those guys throw me a fastball and they took her off, without my knowledge? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was one of my first questions. I was like, wow, it was so intentional to say his personal assistant instead of.
So that shows that he takes a lot of I wouldn't say it's a lack of confidence, but I think that was their culture back then, and maybe even now, that you go and search out, knowledge, or what's the word I'm looking for? Words of wisdom from people, how to handle situations. I wouldn't say it's a lack of confidence, but maybe that was just their culture back then. I do want to address real quick. I see where Lori from Prepping for Heaven says she finally caught up and she's reading her Bible, and it's totally different. So it's going to depend on what version you're reading from. I believe
this was from the NIV, wasn't it?
It was. Yep. NIV. Yeah. I just clicked over and checked. So this is from the NIV.
Yeah, so word for word is probably not going to be the same, but it still should be the same premise.
Yeah.
Behind it. Yeah.
So then the next thing is, okay, so his attendant, right, says basically, let's have a beauty pageant. Let's find you a new queen. Let's get all these virgins throughout your 127 provinces or whatever.
Yes.
And bring them here. So I'm thinking, my mind's going, these young girls, they're virgins, they're beautiful. So, I don't know what the age grouping here, but I can imagine anywhere from age of accountability, which I think, Persians, I don't know. Jewish children, it was, I think, the age of 11 or 12 for girls, and it's older for boys. I may be wrong on that.
And by this time, he's about 35, right? Well, I mean, we got to take back, because he crowned her in the 7th year of his reign. So we've got to go back 12 months, because they have to have 6 months of treatments of oil and myrrh, and then 6 months with the cosmetics. So you got to walk that back. So this is probably about, we thought he was about 32 or 30. So maybe he's 35.
Yeah, somewhere under 40.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll come from, the girls will probably be from 12 to 14. So I think that I want to, here in a little bit, talks about how Esther obeyed Mordecai, that he raised her when her parents died. So I noticed a lot of obedience from Esther. And I don't know if it's from her Jewish background, because, he told her to hide that when she went there. But but that may have been the culture for all young women, to really be obedient.
Yes.
So it may not just been a Jewish thing. I thought also what was so wait a minute. So now we have eunuch Haggai, and in the next verses I thought was interesting is that she had favor with him. I don't know if it's the next one. And I thought that was interesting because, we already said that in this book of this chapter or this book of the Bible, that God's presence is seen in here, but his name is never spoken through this whole book. Right. And, but I see things that God has put in place, his hand, for imperfect people too, in their situation.
I think it's in this one.
It's just what
this is where it says she pleased him and won his favor, because that's the slide just before she was taken and she was given to the charge of Haggai. She pleased Haggai.
She was smart. Like, Esther's a smart cookie. But she was also smart in the fact that she made wise choices, because with her getting favor from the eunuch, she only, when it was her time to be called to the king, she only listened to what he suggested. Because apparently they could have taken in different things, they could have addressed different things, they could have done different things. She only did the things that he and him knowing the king. So she was really smart in only following the orders of the eunuch and whatever his name.
And can you imagine being a very young girl and you have all this jewelry, all these dresses, all this stuff at your fingertips, and you can take whatever you want, and she is the only one that saw the forest through the trees. She said there is I'm in it for the long haul. So I want you to tell me what would please him, and that's what I'm going to take. I found that I wrote that down too.
But do you think she asked that because, again, I don't know of being a young girl and the way women were looked at if she actually went to him, but he took interest in her for some reason. You know what I mean? And I always feel like maybe that was God's grace. He put that guy, oh, wait a minute, here's this girl. You've got 400 other girls possibly, from every nationality there. But for some reason, at least that's the way I take it, is that his eye was caught by her and he took her under his wings to really help her. And if she didn't have that grace from him, would we have the same outcome? So is that the hand of God?
You're feeling like when he said, I think it's on this slide. Hold on. Let me see if it's on this slide where it says, King's Palace in the morning. Okay. Oh, darn it. Where is it? Maybe it's next time. Yeah. Yes, right here. The king's eunuch who was in charge of the harem. So when the turn came for Esther, the young woman Mordecai had adopted the daughter of his uncle Abigail to go to the king. She asked for nothing other than what Haggai, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the harem, suggested. So I see where you're going with that. And he says, okay, these are the things that he likes. And she took her cue. She was smart in her young age, not to fall for the glitz and the glam, but to stay the course and say, well, that's maybe something, maybe these girls are in it for the short term. They're going to go home with some new makeup kits and, a couple of press on nails, but I'm in it for the long haul,
Well, and I think that talks about, to me, I'm thinking about, because you're thinking about that time frame, I'm thinking about her willingness for obedience, and you can be disobedient, but, I'm sure that wasn't a good thing back then, and she's such a young girl. And if she hadn't been obedient to her uncle, Mordecai, or her cousin, And Lori brought up a thing too. She said, we're talking about the Jewish people. Yes, we are, but we're talking about, what is it, fourth generation that was removed by the Babylonians, and this group of Jews stayed in Susa, right? And I think it's like fourth generation. Mm-hmm. So they become very accustomed, I'm sure, to the Persian ways and stuff. And I'm not saying they didn't follow the letter of the law when it came to Jewish, but if you think about this, as a Jew, they really weren't following the rules of their law, right? Because she is going forth to the king, where I'm guessing 300 or 400 girls. I mean, I may be totally wrong. It may be less, it may be way more, but could you imagine? Right. So if you think about this, when it talks about them going to the king,
yes,
they spent the night with the king, these virgin girls. You have 400 girls then that have been defiled or whatever. And if you notice, they don't go back home. They go into the harem. So they're there for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine what these young girls are going through. And I think in my nature, when I feel kind of pushed into a corner, I come out, obedience is not going to be the thing I'm going to be,
if you look at it this way, this whole scenario was brought on by disobedience by the queen. That's the only reason all this is happening. So maybe she looked into it that way as well, like, oh gosh, sorry, the wind is really bad here and things are banging around and it's kind of freaking me out.
I've seen you looking around.
So the whole reason we're having this 12 months of everything is because of one woman's disobedience. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, she'd still be queen. So maybe that was lagging in the back of her mind as well.
Probably true if they knew about it. They may have known that this queen is gone. I keep pronouncing her name incorrectly. They may not have known that information. They may not have complete information to make informed consent, as I always call it. But who knows? You might be right. Might be very right, because it's kind of like, I'm one of these people, I would rather learn from somebody else's mistakes than my own mistakes, but then I'll learn from my mistakes too. But she's being part of that too. Oh, good. Welcome. Do the good. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know we're missing people, and I'm sorry, but welcome everybody that's in here. I hope you're getting from this what we are. We're just trying to break this down a little bit and trying to interpret. I am, because I have a hard time. But again, I'm not a Jewish 14-year-old girl that's living in Persia in 483 BC or whatever. And spending a year. Now that's the other thing too. Casey, I forgot her name. She has a YouTube channel and she's done Esther, and she's talked about that time frame, or maybe it was in Beth Moore's book, talked about that year time frame was also to ensure that everybody was a virgin, that no one was pregnant. So that was long enough that if you were pregnant, that way the king wouldn't be falsely accused of fathering a child that wasn't of royal blood or whatever. Which I thought
go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm sorry.
I was just going to address some of the questions in the comments. Yes, I know Lauren at Making a Home, there again asked about, what in today's term, what would a eunuch be? There really isn't a term, a eunuch is, and we're going to get real because it is what it is a man who's been castrated. So from what, and I did do a little bit of looking into that, but so in order for a man to be trusted by a king, he had to be of no threat. And so in a way, it was kind of an honored tradition to be a eunuch to the king, because that was one of the most trusted advisors. But by doing that, the king would have assurance that his harem would be protected by a man, but also not be in danger of either impregnating one of the women in the harem. So it was just a way of keeping that, keeping it from being a bad thing. So
Yes.
I don't really think that there is a modern day equivalent to a eunuch. Because maybe there is, I don't know, but none that I know of. So I don't really have anything to compare it and put it into terms that it would be relevant.
I don't either.
Yes. Yeah, no, me either. The other thing I looked at, one fun fact, if we want to do a fun fact here.
Yeah.
The myrrh, you always hear gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Myrrh is actually an oil that's derived from a couple of different plants, but it's to treat depression and anxiety. So he wanted them happy. Yes. So he wanted them to be happy. So
where can I get some myrrh? Can I grow myrrh?
I want some happy.
I love that.
Let's go to the
That's interesting, though. That's very interesting. I know that isn't myrrh what they also use, like, oils are such a big thing in that time frame. That when a person dies, their body, I know in the Jewish
is preserved with myrrh.
Is preserved, and it was frankincense, wasn't it? Frankincense.
That I'm not sure.
That I think they use to help preserve and reduce the smell and stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Looks like we can't grow myrrh unless we live in the hot desert conditions and full sun.
I'm not interested in that, but I'm not interested in the cold snow either.
Yeah.
70 degrees all year long.
Yeah. I can put it in your greenhouse. Gotta try. Maybe anybody out there got any myrrh seeds?
Myrrh
seeds.
This is digging into the word. I mean,
we are homesteaders, so
Yeah, there you go. I love it. I thought. Go ahead, Ginger. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna kick to the very last slide, just to. Oh, that's not it. Oh, that's because we went backwards. Sorry. Let me see if I can find it. I know it's a short one. I think it's very, again, intentional. The author put in here that when the report was investigated and found to be true. Oh, no, not that part. Sorry. The Queen Esther, who in turn reported it to the king, giving credit to Mordecai. So make sure and keep that in your, she didn't tell who she was. She didn't tell of, her family or any of her lineage or anything like that, but she gave credit to Mordecai for foiling this whole plot to assassinate the king. So that's very important to remember that.
Keep that in your pocket.
Yes.
So to me, that's because if I think it said that every day Mordecai would walk at a certain location to check on her, but this day it sounds like he was in a different location.
Oh,
is that how you read it? So it's almost like God's hand was in that too, to have him in a different location where he happened to hear that.
And you'll see a lot of parallels coming up. I'm so excited for the following chapters because it almost starts over here and then you get parallels on the way on the backside. And so it's like it mirrors everything. Just work its way around. So I'm super excited for chapter 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah,
all the way to 10, and then it's like the end of a good book. We're going to be sad when we get to chapter 10.
But then there's more books.
Yes,
there are.
Yes. Yeah. But Lori brings up a good point. Mordecai always was checking on her. She was in this situation. He loved her. He wanted what was best for her. But I also think that this is something I'd like to go back and look. This decree, it wasn't like, I want my kid to go do that. Were they forced to send their daughters, because they had people go out and get them. So was it basically being not an indentured servant, but basically a servant? So did you have a choice to do this or not?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's
I'm sure, denying was probably not a choice, since they sent out that decree to all of the provinces in their own language. So I'm just kind of seeing it like as, Hunger Games type thing. There wasn't a,
Well, I kind of see it like, for one, and I relate this because, like some of y'all know, I was involved in the Miss America circuit, all the way down to the local levels, and the districts and the regionals, and all that, and moving on up. And so it's kind of the same thing. This edict went out to all the providences, so that could be like every state. And I think there had to have been some bragging rights, in the hopes of your person being selected as the next queen. And so I think it went down to those smaller provinces, and they looked around their province and kind of did their own little, mini pageant, mini whatever, and only sent their very best off to, to be a part of this. So when I'm trying to like work it through my brain on how something like this worked, that's how my brain sees it, and that's how it applies, to today's world. And I really think that each province probably put their best foot forward, and
that's such a great
right. That is such a great
point. Let me look for that slide too, because to that point.
While you're looking for that, I wanted to say hi. Christ Community looks like they're new in. It says, I'm a new listener. My husband is a pastor, and they're homesteaders in Alabama. So welcome in.
Yes, welcome. So there it is right there, Tara. They're very intentional about saying this young woman, who was always also known as Esther, had a lovely figure and was beautiful. So she was right up the, pageant circuit alley.
Yeah.
That's why she ended up going as well.
And I will tell you, as a former director, like the ones that listen to your advice and listen and take heed to your, your guidance, they typically would do better. And so, and that's where my brain goes, because that's a real world application for my brain to understand a lot of these, a lot of these things in the Bible. So, just like, she listened to Hagar, and she listened to Mordecai, and she followed those in blind faith, kind of like, we should all do. So, however, you make it work for yourself.
And Christine, there's another lady on here, Carrie Gonzalez. Kind of off topic, but I just found your Bible study, and I'm excited. I'm very new to reading the Bible, and excited to hear you address passages referencing historical practices, which is new to me.
Awesome. Welcome in, Carrie Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I think for us, we have to break it down.
Yeah, we got to baby steps here.
Oh, this is interesting from Love the Land Every Day. Maybe you guys read this, but oh gosh, myrrh comes from the resin of a tree found in Africa and a few other countries. I researched it. I wonder if it would grow in my heart. You guys just read that, didn't you? I'm sorry.
Well, I was reading at the same time you were.
I did not even see it.
Wow.
Might be one of those that we just order in the oil instead of trying to grow it in the green.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also you could buy the incense, incense.
I think I got some from Young Living or True something.
Incense and myrrh. They're still around in incense.
I don't know. I think I need a year of beauty treatments though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. More pliable.
It's kind of just exciting seeing the framework being built in chapter 2. You had chapter 1, which was kind of this launching pad, and then you start seeing it going in to chapter 2, and and I shared this with the ladies prior to us going on, and it was just kind of something that kind of really resonated with me as I was studying through chapter 2. Was that time frame that the author was very specific. That was that 1 year that these women were in the harem getting their beauty treatments and being guided up and pampered and everything. And one of the things I had read was they had trust in that 1 year process, and they had trust that their lives could change. And so they went into it with blind faith, believing that. And so, you want to take something in the Bible and apply it to your life. Look at that 1 year. And if there's something that you're working on, something you're struggling with, if you give it to God for a year, and you trust for that year, kind of like all the women did in the harem for this, in this chapter, look what he did in that 1 year time frame. He took a Jewish orphan and crowned her queen. So you look at all of these things that happen within that 1 year. And if you take a problem in your life, even if it's just one thing, do it as an experiment. Okay, Lord, this one thing that I have that I struggle with, it's yours for a year.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying give up and take it back after a year. I'm just saying, if you give God time to work in your life and trust that everything that's going to happen, what changes could be made in your life if you did that. So that's kind of what I was taking out of this chapter 2 that really resonated in my heart. And I think that's a lot of, why this Bible study is so important to me, is because I need it to apply to my life. And so you're looking at those things, and it's not about, interpreting or being told how to interpret. It's how can I make this apply to my life? And for me, that's what worked for me. So
For me, I love that, Tara, and I appreciate you saying that, because for me, one of the things with this is that when I read the book before we, when we were starting this, I saw a lot of imperfect people, which we all are, that are being used by God to make these great things happen. So none of us, no matter what our walk with Christ is like, we may think we do this, we do that. We're not unlovable. We're just, we all have our vices, we do things. We're all sinners, right? Where no one's perfect. There's only one perfect person that walked on this earth, and we're not that person.
Yeah.
That's not us.
God still uses us. So many people that say, oh, I don't want to join this Bible study. I don't want to do this. I don't do that because I do this and do that. No, that's what we're all here. We're all imperfect. No one should feel that way. And I see that in this book is a bunch of imperfect people that weren't following their letter of the law of their Jewish customs, or maybe they also were revolting against their Persian, rules. But look at how everything worked together and mold and fit into a puzzle piece that God's working. Because we were just talking about like what we were talking about Mordecai, or Tara was saying about how this is unfolding. I see two things. I see Esther giving grace in so many different ways, because it says she got favor from all these different people, not just Haggai, but everybody she met, so that's can't just be all her, but also there's her.
We've already established that this is one or maybe one of two of the only books in the Bible that God is not mentioned in any of it.
Yeah, his name is not mentioned. I think this is the only book.
You see his hand in all of it. All of it. I mean, these things aren't just happening by happenstance.
Right. And then you see Mordecai, her uncle, is also receiving favor. He's put in the right place at the right time to hear something, and then he has her ear that she can relay it back to whoever. I mean, I'm sure it was I don't know if it was her who gave it directly to the king, but so going back to what Tara said, that 1 year of just whatever time frame it is that God puts in your life to work through something, having that faith, as the Bible say, a faith of a mustard seed,
Yes.
And something that's really been hitting me is I worry a lot, more so than I should. I worry about everything. In fact, if you're worried about something, I'll worry for you if you want me to. Can
you worry about that wind right now? Because it is really flipping me out.
Yeah, it's like, and that is truly, if I think about it, to me, that is really a sin, because God says, okay, your worry is saying you don't have faith in me and what I can do. And you've got to have that trust. You need full. Yeah. So, and that's something I'm having to deal with. So seeing this young girl who's taken out of her home in this weird place, she has faith, whether she's saying it's her faith in God or it's her faith in Mordecai. Right. I don't know what her, even though she's Jewish, I don't know what her, living in Persia for all her life. I don't know if she picked up their customs. I don't know. The Bible doesn't really tell me this. unless I missed it, which that could definitely happen. So,
no, I haven't seen that
you know,
yet.
so I love what Tara's saying to her, and then I definitely see that, and then I see what it's saying for me too. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Diana or Ginger? What do you guys think? I mean, like, what are you picking up out of this?
You guys have covered pretty much everything that I've thought.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. Ditto for what Nana said. What she said. Sometimes I read some of it and I end up with more questions than answers. But I do like that how we all have something different to make the other one think a little bit. You know, that's what I like that we're all bringing to this study is that, well, wait, look at what they said here. Like, you know, she was beautiful and she was the lovely one. You know, I obviously, you know, knew that was in there for a reason, but hadn't put the 2 and 2 together until kind of Tara said that. And so
that put it into a new light for me with the pageant thing, because you know, you're probably going to have those girls that some are like, no, I don't want to go, you know, but they're you know, or the family doesn't want to go and they're under a decree, I don't know. But then there's this one's like, heck yeah, they're going to be queen, why don't I just try it out, because I might as well get that, you know. So
back there in the chat somewhere, someone said American Idol Queen Edition.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
I mean, I just know for me, you know, I know James put in here each person's interpretations of what they're reading. And that is so true. And, you know, and not just when I'm reading the Bible, but in my everyday life, and Jason can attest to this, I am a huge correlation person. Like everything, like it's almost like my brain has to apply it and I have to be able to resonate with it in one way. So my brain will like throw a correlation in there to help me understand.
Yeah.
So that's
that's very true. I'm a very visual person too, with everything. So I even found myself kind of like not sketching out, but kind of like writing down time frames and stuff like that, trying to put it in perspective, because I'm having a hard time understanding that all these young girls were brought to this thing, and that doesn't work in my world, you know, here.
Yeah. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that.
But knowing the outcome, which most of us probably know the outcome, but I won't do a spoiler alert. You know, you see how all these puzzle pieces just fit in together. There has been a lot of great comments and a lot of new people.
I'm excited to see all my comments. Yeah. And so we're down, ladies, to 3 minutes. So
no, I want to get a couple more comments up there really quickly.
So I'm really excited for chapter 3. Next week, same time, same channels, however y'all came in. Chapter 3. I'm excited for it. It's just
excited.
better and better.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome in, my wild home. Well, I want to make sure that we end in prayer before we go. How do you always think about the forced union of them and the king?
The forced union as far as the harem or Esther? I mean, if it's
the one night, that's what I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around.
Is
because I see a bunch of young girls that are being forced. I don't know forced or if they want to, but they are going to spend the rest of their lives in this harem. They're not going to have children, or at least I don't think they are. I mean, maybe they are, but
maybe that's something where maybe along with this next week, you know, I'm curious too. So maybe that's where we have to jump outside and do research on what it was in a harem, because from my understanding, it wasn't a bad life to live.
Right.
It wasn't something. I mean, they had guaranteed food, guaranteed shelter. They had the wealth, you know, and as long as they stayed in the king's good graces, I don't think that it was anything forced. I'm not saying not everybody was, and I don't know. This is just where my brain's going. So I guess I'm gonna have to look into that. So maybe that's something that we can pick back up next week, and you know, just if our brains aren't wrapping around that forced, or was it forced? Was it voluntary? Was it a job?
Who knows? But
you know,
there
wasn't a lot of options for women back in that time frame. So I think you got to look at the context of of that time frame. So was a harem a bad thing? Honestly, in a woman's in a woman's mind, was it really that bad? And if there's 400 women in in the harem and 365 days in a year, maybe one night. Yeah, definitely we're gonna have to revisit that. We'll unpack that later.
Yeah, and I do want to say they're right. Some people said, Esther was Jewish, and yes, she was, but she also was raised in the citadel, Susa, of Persia. So I know that there's a very strong belief, but I don't hear that they really followed the letter of the law of being Jewish. Maybe they did. That's something I'd like to research a little bit more, because I would think as a Jewish person, you wouldn't have went and did this if that was, if you were by the letter of the law. But I may be wrong, so I'm going to look into that too.
I know. That's where we're sitting here, y'all. We are not theologians. We are not.
I have more questions than I did when we started.
Yeah, so we're working our way through this like y'all are with us. So
All right. Well, it's 8:00, so I'd like to end in prayer.
Yes.
Does anybody want to do it, or do you want me to lead it, or
where did the hour go?
I know. It just flew by.
I know. I'm like, I want more, but I need to do some research in between now too.
Yeah.
Right. So let's end in prayer. Again, we want to thank everybody that's in here in the chat. We're going to end with prayer, and you have blessed us by being here. I hope we are. Again, I want to reiterate what Tara's saying. We are not theologians. We're just a bunch of friends here trying to learn some more about the Bible. And I have more questions than I have answers at this word did. So, all right. Do y'all, any of y'all want to lead, or you want me to do it? Or
go right ahead.
You do an amazing job.
You do an amazing job.
Okay, thank you. Dear Lord, I just thank you for this hour that we spent with friends and learning your word and all the questions that come to our mind. I thank you for lending the ear to us. I thank you for the chat, everybody in the chat, and their discussions with us and helping us dig deeper into your word. And dear God, I ask for a hedge of protection to be put around everybody during this weather mix that's coming through. I know there's a lot of severe weather coming through, and we know that you can calm the storms. And dear Lord, I pray that you just have everyone have a blessed week, great week, and that we are ready next Monday for deeper dive into your word. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate all of y'all.
Yes. I'm so excited. Yeah. I love y'all. Thank you. Another great study. I've got some research to do though, because I got a lot of questions.
Me too. Plus, we have homework for next week. So next week we'll be covering chapter 3.
Homework though.
The chapter 3 in Esther will be next week. So brush up on your 1 and 2, and then come with your questions on 3, and we'll unpack all of chapter 3 next week. We love you guys. Stay safe, and God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye. Take care.